Hi, I'm Marty Nemco. I am no James Joyce, but I am intrigued by the idea of experimenting with free associative writing. That is, writing down what's coming into my mind without any censorship and without any editing. So here, uncensored, for better or worse, are the thoughts that are flying through my head as I sit here at my keyboard. No one needs anything more than a room and a few changes of clothes and simple food like fruits, vegetables, a little protein and bread. People are more trouble than they're worth, except in small doses. How could the human body exist? A heart that keeps beating, a body that's not in pain, a brain that can apprehend so much. I'd love to believe in a God, even if the God didn't reach the high bar of being omniscient and omnipotent. As long as this God thing was benevolent, no such thing. Man created God because he or she needed a God to deal with suffering and deal with fear of dying and death. Benevolence, huh? Most people, I think they're benevolent only when it doesn't hurt them to be benevolent. What about people we see as self-sacrificial? Usually it's just for show or because they've given up on life, so they feel they have nothing to lose. What could make a life worth living? Not the pursuit of happiness, not pleasure, that's shallow. Making a difference to one's sphere of influence without the effort being odious. That's all I can think of. It's hard to understand how most people make peace with their decline and death without it swallowing up any good feelings about living. It's very scary, it seems to me. At least I'm not living in Burundi. George Bernard Shaw was right. He said there's no sincerer love than the love of food. Alas. All the media says these days, woman good, man bad, or at least white man bad. The colleges, they keep saying white men are privileged. How much of white male privilege is unearned versus earned? Men have done so much good. They do so much good. This all makes me really sad. It's all part of that belief. I profoundly believe that making decisions based on merit will ultimately do much more good for society than redistributing to make things more equal, let alone redistribute to the least among us. Why have Asians, from the Chinese to the Indians, and they're so visibly different from whites, they're as visibly different from whites as blacks are, and yet they've achieved so much more, so much faster. And that's not just in the US. In all 200 of the world's nations, whether they be majority black or majority white, majority Latino, majority Asian, whether they were colonized or not, now or through the centuries, blacks are almost always, to my knowledge, at the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder and at the top of the crime and violence and drug abuse ladder. Diets, they're stupid. 98% of people gain back what they lose and more. I've tried so hard to stay skinnier. Still 20 pounds overweight, solidly 20 pounds. It's not good. Extreme diets, though, are unhealthy. Ketogenic diet, South Beach diet. Weight Watchers is healthy, but it takes more discipline than most people have. Those extreme diets, they defy natural selection. We're genetically programmed to eat a balance that works for us. Now, obviously there's some people who just eat themselves into oblivion, into obesity, and, that's clearly not, healthy. But we generally, most of us, focus on diet because we have some measure of control over it. We're afraid of sickness. In our healthcare system, it's ever more overwhelmed, and we're unlikely to get access to care, let alone really quality care, or ever less likely to. The problem with diets also, even moderate diets, if you have a physiological tendency to eat too many calories, and it's like I can't think of anything else but eating when I'm hungry. Not everybody feels that way. I remember Johnny Carson saying he forgets meals all the time. He doesn't even think about food. I can't imagine that. The data really that diet matters, except for obesity, is really meager. It's such weak data that we wouldn't make most choices based on such iffy data, let alone depriving ourselves of the pleasure of food. As Shaw said, is the most sincere form of love. Restraint. It is so hard to inculcate in yourself, let alone anybody else, and yet that's what mostly counselors try to do. I am confident that restraint is significantly, not completely, but genetic. Maybe in part having to do with the amount of adrenaline and other hormones that get secreted in response to a given stimulus, and to when we see food, when we see an obnoxious person, and we either go from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds and want to beat the hell out of them, or we're calm by nature. Or we see that pot bar or vaping pen. The truth is, for most people, pot is a better high than alcohol. So it becoming legal here in California is going to certainly be, it seems like it's going nationwide. It's going to dramatically increase pot's use because of its greater accessibility. All the advertising, all I do is see billboards for it now, pot. And soon there'll be pot cafes, pot bars, pot restaurants. That's going to make pot top of mind. It's going to make people want to use it more. That increase in pot use is very dangerous to all of our physical and mental health, and to America's ability to compete for jobs, in our ability to develop better products. It's so silly that we're legalizing it. Indeed, the government is evil. If government cared about us, it would not allow legal pot, nor legal alcohol, nor sell lottery tickets, which the Democrats pushed, even though they always advocate, they say they advocate for the poor, but really lottery tickets soak the poor. And government wouldn't rest half of our, rest as in W-R-E-S-T, half or more of our income when you include everything, all the taxes, all the user fees, and so on, knowing that that is the government, wastefully spends it, so wastefully spends it. Liberals are such hypocrites. And I'm not just talking about Al Gore living in a compound with I saw the aerial view of it, it's mammoth. Talk about using up fossil fuels resources, his carbon footprint. He had his 5 SUVs, flying around in a private jet. I'm not just talking about him. Much more broadly, liberals praise diversity, but they live in enclaves from Chevy Chase, Maryland to Piedmont, California, which is adjacent to where I live in Oakland. Liberal politicians laud affirmative action, but they pass laws exempting themselves from it. Who do I respect? Nobody in totality. But I do have a lot of respect for medical researchers. They work tirelessly in quiet anonymity, probably end up dying having done no more than close up some blind alleys, rather than not cure some major disease or anything. But their cause is very just. All the pain of cancer, heart disease, diabetes, so many diseases. Ugh. All right. This is hubristic, but it's true. I do respect myself. I really do try hard to be Ben Franklin-like, and I pretty much succeed. I work hard. I get up early. I don't lie and cheat. I try to be a good guy and work to make a world better. And I don't overcharge. I charge very modestly for my clients. I try to be a mensch. I like that word, mensch, Jewish word for person of character. Again, I'm sorry about the hubris, but I'm trying to be really honest here and uncensored and unedited. I'm trying this. It's an experiment. You may hate me. You'll let me know in the comments. All right. I hate also getting old. By normative standards, I have accomplished a lot, but really, I don't think I've made much difference. Certainly, the world is moving in the opposite direction of my core value, that meritocracy, as opposed to redistribution. Now it's so often redistributing from the more contributory to the less. That's more than enough, at least for now. I welcome your comments, I guess. I'm actually scared to get them, but be nice, or try to be tactful at least. I'm trying. I'm Marty Nemko. Thank you very much for watching.